Good morning and welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Madison. My name is Kelly Aspruz Jackson, and I am one of the ministers here. Today I am joined by my colleague, the Reverend Kelly Crocker, and by the worship team of Linda Warren, Drew Collins, Karen Urrutia Pulnitz, Stephen Gregorius, and Daniel Carnes. A thank you to all of those volunteering in many roles today as greeters, ushers, hospitality providers, lay ministers, sound technicians. Thank you to you all. And a very special thank you to our own Brian Rainey for sharing his gift of music with us today. Thanks, Brian. At First Unitarian Society, we question boldly, listen humbly, grow spiritually, act courageously, and love unapologetically. If you are visiting us today, welcome. We're so very glad that you chose to be with us this morning. If you would like more information about First Unitarian Society, please stop by the welcome table, which is located in the Commons. We hope that you will be able to stay and to join us for coffee hour immediately following the service, also in the Commons. For those connecting with us virtually today, welcome to you as well. We hope that you will be able to take a moment and watch the announcement slides after today's service to learn about upcoming programs and activities. Last weekend, we held our water communion ceremony, and many of you contributed water to represent how we come together stronger, more beautiful, and more vital in community. That water has now been distilled and will be used for child dedications and other sacred practices of our congregation throughout the year. If you would like a little bit of that same water to take home with you to place on a home altar or pour into your garden or otherwise use as a blessing or reminder of the community that nurtures and holds you, there are vials of the water available in baskets. There are some at the exit, the center exit to this room, as well as at the welcome table up by the balcony. And now we have one special announcement from Brian Rainey.
Hi, my name is Brian. I am a member of this year's Ministerial Review Task Force. Every 3 years, our bylaws at FUS require us to do a review of ministry. And so this year, the board formed a task force with members Dorrit Bergen, Ed Zappala, and me to find out what everyone thinks about how our co-senior minister model is working and also about how well we all minister to each other. And we would really like everybody's input And so please, after the service, stop by our table. It's in the Commons just outside the library to fill out our survey, about 5 minutes. And if you do it, we'll give you a piece of candy or a sticker. There's also a link to the survey in the red floors. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. Thank you.
And now, I invite you to join me in a moment of silence as we center ourselves and bring ourselves fully into this time, joining together once again in community.
Welcome, you who come in friendship, who long for genuine community.
May you be graciously received here as your authentic self.
Welcome, you who come in curiosity, full of questions, or simply open.
May you embrace wonder and encounter new delights.
Welcome, you who come heavy with fatigue, weary from the troubles of the world or the troubles of your life.
May you rest and be filled in this sacred place.
Welcome, you who come with joy for flowing rivers and gentle breeze, for changing skies and great trees.
May the grace of the world leave a lasting imprint in you.
Welcome, you who come with thanks for the altruism of the earth and the gift of human care.
May your grateful heart overflow and bless those around you.
Welcome all.
Let us worship together.
And we invite you now to rise in all the ways we do, joining together in the words on the screen as we light our chalice. We light this flame for the spiritual discipline that holds us together, love, teaching compassion, seeking understanding, calling us to nurture and protect, measuring the rightness of our actions and choices. Love is the center of all we hold dear. And before we join together in song, we invite you to turn and greet those around you.
Good morning. Let's sing together our opening hymn, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. We'll sing it twice through all together, and then we'll sing it 2 more times as a round, with the people on my left going first and the people on my right going second. One more time.
In July, we welcomed Karen Rutia Polnitz to our community and our staff team as our Director of Religious Exploration. Today, we are formally covenanting with Karen as our new DRE. The free church tradition of which we are a part does not offer up a creed, a certain set of beliefs that everyone must accept in order to belong to this community. Instead, the boundaries of our community are determined by a commitment to our shared values and a promise to bring them to life in our words and our actions. Our central question is not, what do we believe, but rather, what values will we uphold and how will we do this together? Our covenant, the promises we make to each other regarding how we will be a community of faith, is at the heart of what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. Today we make these sacred promises with Karen, welcoming her to our community and pledging to her our support.
So please join me in the words that are printed on the screen. Karen, we commit to grow and learn with you. As you learn and grow with us, we will be open to new ideas and will lean in to saying yes when we can to help the Religious Exploration Program. We will work with you to bring your vision to life. We promise to you our mutual trust and support.
I commit to bring enthusiasm and passion to my work as your DRE. I will seek to fulfill the vision of religious exploration we develop together, and to listen, respect, and accompany the spiritual journeys of this congregation's children and youth. I promise to you my mutual trust and support.
And if you will join together once again with the words on the slide. Beginning in this sacred place and reaching outward, may we create a just and peaceful world where all voices are heard, all spiritual paths are treasured, and where love is kept at the center of our values and our community. May it be so, and blessed be. Now, last weekend, we began our religious exploration classes with over 184 children and youth in our congregation. 66 adult volunteers carry the sacred privilege and responsibility of journeying beside them on our behalf. Unitarian Universalism is a faith that has the power to save lives, to shape lives, to sweeten and soften the lives of kids and teenagers who are living in a world that can sometimes be harsh, lonely, unjust, and unkind. Let their religious education classes be a constant, a comfort, a community for our kids, a place that holds them in love and gives them strength as they navigate their complicated lives, a time of rest, recreation, respite, and refueling, a scaffold that supports them as they grow into who they were meant to be. So any teachers in the room, if you will please rise.
To our teachers, we say, may your classes be a joy. May they be spiritually fulfilling. May they be places of growth and connection.
In the months ahead, may you and we grow in knowledge, grow in wisdom, and grow in boldness. May you take with you our gratitude and our love, and may you feel the support of this congregation in all you teach and all you learn. Blessed be, and amen.
If you'll join us in thanking our teachers. And now we will sing our teachers and our children on their way to classes.
Oh, you can make the world so bright, and you can turn the day from night, and share your gifts and spread your light, and learn what you know. I invite you to rise once again in body and or in spirit so we can sing the perfect hymn following that sort of covenanting, Break Not the Circle. Number 323 in the gray hymnal, Break Not the Circle. Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow forgiven and forgiving. Break not that circle, make it wider still, till it includes embraces all the living. Come wonder at this love that comes to life, where words of freedom are with humor spoken, and people keep no score of wrong and guilt, but will that human bonds remain unbroken. Join then the movement of the love that frees, till people of whatever race or nation will truly be themselves, stand on their feet, see eye to eye with laughter and elation.
In the Taoist tradition of China, there are many stories about a group of people called the Eight Immortals. These are people who were born normally, just as you and I were, but through some combination of great kindness and great wisdom and magic, became immortal, became perfectly unchanging in every element of their body and self. And from time to time, visit the earth in order to, well, do a lot of different things. But most of them have something to do with that great kindness or that great wisdom, or both. And one of the Eight Immortals was named Lu Donbing, and here is this story now about how Lu Donbing came down from his palace in the clouds. He rode to the earth, carried by cranes. And where he landed, he saw a city. And he thought that he should go to that city and see if he could find anyone there who was actually generous in their own heart. And as he set out on his trip, the first thing that he needed to do was to disguise himself, because as one of the Eight Immortals, it was very obvious that he was a very powerful and impressive person. So he met a traveler on the road, and he traded his own cloak for theirs. And so, disguised now as a much older, well, a much physically older person, he went into the city and he began asking for alms, asking everyone that he met, do you have something you could share with someone who is less fortunate? And although he met many different people who had more than they needed, more even than most of us could want in some cases, He met very few people who were willing to share with a stranger. So it was that after several days in the city, he came into a tavern, and he sat down at a table there, and he said to the tavern keeper, "It has been many days since I have eaten. I'm afraid that I have no money to pay you, but would you be willing to share some food with me?" Now, it was true, he hadn't eaten in many days, but he was immortal, remember? He was okay not eating, but the tavern keeper did not know that. He just saw a poor, hungry person sitting at one of his tables. And the tavern keeper said, "Of course, friend, of course, please, have some food, have something to drink. Don't worry about the cost." And you know what? Lu Donbing, being one of the 8 immortals, he could eat a lot. And he could drink a lot. And he ate and he drank all day and far into the night. And even though he kept eating, the tavern keeper just kept bringing him more food, always smiling, always happy to be doing something good for another person, never complaining or concerned about how much food and drink was being consumed. So that by the end of the evening, when Lu Donbing stood up and threw off his cloak, and it was obvious now that he was someone very powerful and important, the tavern keeper was surprised but not upset. Lu Donbing took his walking stick and he said, "I want to give you something out of gratitude for your generosity." And he used it as a paintbrush, and he painted a beautiful mural on the side of the tavern. The mural was of several dancing cranes in various stages of flight and dance. And after he had finished the mural, and the tavern keeper was very impressed by it, Lu Donbing said, "That's not quite all." He sat down and he played a little tune on his flute. It was such a beautiful tune that the tavern keeper couldn't help but, tap his toe a little bit, clap along slightly. And while the music was playing and the tavern keeper was kind of dancing, the cranes came down off of the wall and they danced. They danced all around the tavern. The tavern keeper, of course, was awestruck by this. And Lu Donbing said, "As long as these cranes are on this wall, whenever there is music, whenever there is dancing, whenever there is joy in this place, they will dance with you." With that, Lu Donbing left for who knows where. But for years after that, people would come from all over, not just throughout the city, all over the country, to this place with the dancing cranes. They would spend a great deal of money just to be there, to enjoy the company and the happiness of those animals. It went like this for many years. And finally, when the innkeeper was near retirement, Lu Donbing came back. The tavern keeper immediately recognized him, of course, and said, "Please come and take a table. What would you like to eat?" Lu Donbing said, "I am still very full from the meal you served me before. I have come to take my friends home with me." He played a little tune on his flute again, and the cranes jumped down off of the wall. "But I trust, my friend, that my debt to you is repaid." And the tavern keeper said, "Oh yes, many times over." And Lu Donbing said, "I am glad. I hope that you will remember the lesson and teach it to someone else after I am gone."
Thank you, Kelly. Mom, you have to go online and watch Convocation. Those were the words of my brand new college student calling home this week. "I will?" I quickly replied. "I'll love to see it. Is there any reason in particular?" "You will love it. You're going to eat it up. It is so you," he said. It was all about belonging. Apparently, my kid knows me well. So I immediately found the link to watch Convocation, and I did indeed eat it up, as he said. And they discussed the college's 4 core values: curiosity, belonging, courage, and grace. "I know this is a Lutheran school, Mom," he said, "but wow, did it ever remind me of church." So, as you do when the parent is the minister and the kid is the minister's kid, we talked about the similarities in those 4 core values and our own FUS mission statement, because who doesn't do that? Here we question boldly, curiosity. We listen humbly and grow spiritually. That takes a lot of grace. We act courageously, and we love unapologetically. Our vision coming from that love is to be a spiritual community of belonging. There's this old joke about ministers really only having one sermon in them that they rephrase and find different angles for time and time again. And I wonder if it's true. If it is, the core message in mine would always be about belonging. Even my own kids, who never appear to be listening to a thing I say, have apparently picked up on it. I come back often to the words of Chad Snyder: "To belong is to be longing, for a space to be held and that will hold friend, stranger, neighbor, other. For silences broken by songs of the silenced, for time that does not stretch but encircles. To belong is to be longing for wholeness of the beloved, of all who belong and are longing." To belong is to be longing. Parents have so many worries when a kid leaves home or starts something new. And it has been interesting for me to reflect on how so much of my concern for Sam's well-being comes down to this question of, will he find his people? Will he find places and spaces in which he belongs? Will anywhere feel like coming home? I know why my mama brain worries about this so much. Because for us humans, belonging to a family, a group, a community is essential to our ability to thrive, to grow, to develop, to change, to transform. From the time of our birth, belonging is essential to both our physical and mental health. We belong to and with those who raise us, care for us, teach us. Our very survival is based on interdependence with a group of humans, made up partly of family, biological or chosen, as well as this larger community of people who cooperate in growing and preparing our food, teaching us essential knowledge and skills, caring for our health. We cannot survive as fully independent humans. Or as the poet David White said, "Your great mistake is to act the drama as if you were alone." Put down the weight of your aloneness and ease into the conversation. The kettle is singing even as it pours you a drink. The cooking pots have left their arrogant aloofness and seen the good in you at last. All the birds and creatures of the world are unutterably themselves. Everything is waiting for you. Independence is at its core a myth, our great mistake. We must belong. Somewhere, somehow, we must each belong. The Presbyterian minister Frederick Buechner puts it more poetically when he says, "Within every prayer, there lies the longing to know and be known by another fully and humanly, And beneath that, further still, there is this longing that is closer to the heart of the matter, which is a longing to be, at long last, where you fully belong. Growing up, there were plenty of groups that we belonged to that we never had any say about. We were born into our families, into a nation and a neighborhood, and our grown-ups made choices for us about which school we would attend, whether or not we belonged to a particular congregation of any kind. When we are older and making these choices on our own, we come to realize that there is a great power in deciding where and to whom we will belong. The poet Eileen Adele Hale wrote a piece called The Closing Crack, and I feel it captures this rawness in the human condition. It holds the reality of how much we need to know and be known. She writes, I come home at 11:30 at night from AIDS Project LA, the writers read at Beyond Baroque. I make oatmeal, and when it's done and I get up to get it, I put the chicken in the broiler. 11:30 at night, and I'm cooking chicken. I'm afraid the glass roasting pan will crack in the oven going in cold from the refrigerator. I'm so hungry. I pour raw wheat germ on my oatmeal and mix it in and almost pour it down my throat. I want to write to Irene. She was crying tonight, and I think I know why. And I want to write and ask, are you okay? Can I help? I want to say, Irene, I think the world is getting narrower. It's getting harder to squeeze through without touching. It gets narrower at the place where my husband dies, and the crying I thought I could not do in front of people has nowhere else to go. One afternoon, I stop on the sidewalk with my daughter just before the shoe store, and I weep and shake. That's the beginning. That narrow passage is a place of birth, and it shapes me. Life is like that, birth is like that, death is like that, love is like that. The places get narrower and narrower, but there's always the big, huge light as you're squeezing through and the vastness on the other side. Are you okay, Irene? Can I help? We need each other, and I need you. There isn't room not to touch anymore. This image of life being a narrow passage resonates deeply within me. There's this passage we travel from our first breath until our last, and it isn't as long or as wide as we might have first believed. And it feels that the world we live in now is squeezing that passage even tighter. We have no choice but to find those people we can turn toward, the ones who will see us weeping and ask, are you okay? Can I help? Now, belonging is not always easy, and it isn't always rosy. Our need to belong can at times be at odds with our uniqueness and our authenticity. We want to belong and feel that we are loved for who we are, yet our desire for connection and love runs so deep, so much so that we may compromise who we are in order to belong. The teacher, author, and researcher Brene Brown wrote, "We are wired for love and we are hardwired for belonging. It's in our DNA." But let me tell you what belonging is. The opposite of belonging from the research is fitting in. That's the opposite of a lot, she says. Fitting in is assessing and acclimating. Here's what I should say. Here's what I shouldn't say. Here's what I should avoid talking about. Here's what I should dress like, look like. That's fitting in. Belonging is belonging to yourself first. Speaking your truth, telling your story, never betraying yourself for people. True belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are, and that's vulnerable. Brene is pointing to a great danger in risking belonging. We may want to belong so fiercely that we are ready to give up our authentic selves to do so. When we join communities, we are taking a risk. We risk being disappointed or hurt, and we risk disappointing or hurting others. We risk trusting, knowing that that trust may be broken. We risk being changed, challenged to grow. We risk needing to call on others to change and grow. We risk giving of ourselves, and we risk, perhaps the harder one, letting others give to us. We risk making friends and losing them because people die or move away, or sometimes friendships end. And so we risk love's twin, grief. I'll never forget the time when Sam was just an infant and I was rushing through the grocery store, my God, I think it was Woodman's, while he slept in the car seat, perched in the shopping cart. The amount of time to grab what we needed, racing against the amount of time that he would nap. And someone quietly came up to me and said, "Are you Kelly from First Unitarian?" And with some trepidation and one eye on the sleeping guy in the cart, I said, "Yes." She said, "I used to attend there many years ago, but I stopped. I had a time when I was hurting and no one noticed." So we talked for a few moments about her story and how lonely she felt then and now. We talked about her coming back, trying again, acknowledging how hard that might be, what courage that would take. We talked about offering each other grace and how community can be powerful and painful. And with a few startling cries from the cart, we stopped talking, told each other to take care, and I was on my way. I think of her often when I think about belonging, and I send her a silent hope that somewhere she found her place and her people. So let's acknowledge that belonging isn't easy, it isn't all rosy, and yet in the face of all that's happening in our world, we do need to find our people. And when I say that, I mean that we need to find those places where we can bring all of who we are, and the people will love us. Sometimes love will look like smiles and welcomes and hugs, and sometimes love will look like challenges to grow. But we are a people who center an active, life-giving, challenging, rewarding, scary, hopeful love. This isn't greeting card love. This isn't a tossed away love you kind of love. This is fierce love, and a love that we need, and a love our world needs. The author Frederick Bachman once said, "Hate can be a deeply stimulating emotion. The world becomes easier to understand and much less terrifying if you divide everything and everyone into friends or enemies, we and they, good and evil." The easiest way to unite a group isn't through love, because love is hard. It makes demands. Hate is simple. Look at the world out there. Empires are being built on hatred. Lives and careers are built on vilifying those who are different, on picking an enemy and rallying around their destruction. In the last week alone, we've had gun violence against a conservative political activist, which is catalyzing even more hatred. Slurs against the trans community from the floor of Congress. Ongoing wars and the needless loss of life around the globe. In the face of these forces, with the knowledge of how much suffering is out there and in here, we come together to choose a different way. We Unitarian Universalists, we gather together in the face of it all and we say, love is hard, and we're going to do it anyway. We're going to have the audacity to build a community of belonging. Authentic, bring your whole self kind of belonging in spite of or maybe because of the forces of hatred that are in this world. As our UUA President Sophia Betancourt said this week, I am not saying that love alone will save us. My prayer is that the power of love will remind us to save ourselves. So how do we do it? As Sam said, curiosity, belonging, courage, and grace. Wow, that sounds a lot like church. Courage, show up with all your beauty and all your frailty, all your splendor, and all your painful parts too. Show up, be vulnerable, take the risk. Curiosity, bring a spirit of wonder to this place and to these people. Allow each other to be their full selves and don't bring judgment. Bring wonder and awe and amazement. Grace. We are all changing and growing into who we are and who we can be. Make room for possibility. Make room for mistakes. Make room for forgiveness. Make room to be surprised. Friends, with courage, curiosity, and grace, we can build this community of belonging. May we each go forth today and do our part, because now and in the days ahead, we will need each other, each and every one of us, to make it through. Remember, as the spaces get narrower, there isn't room not to touch anymore.
I invite you into this time of giving and receiving, where we give freely and generously to this offering which supports the ongoing work of this community and the work of our outreach offering recipient, whom this week is Mentoring Positives, who are dedicated to guiding youth down a positive path of growth and development. Mentoring Positives describes their mission of service this way. Through our programs, we empower youth to learn, practice, and master essential social, emotional, well-being, and leadership skills. What sets us apart is our unwavering commitment to infuse every aspect of our work with love. We believe that love is the catalyst for transformation, fostering deeper connections, resilience, and a sense of belonging within our community. There are multiple ways to share your gifts this morning, the baskets now being passed most obviously, or you can donate directly from our website, fusmadison.org. You'll see on the screen our text to give information as well. We thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we create together. Each week we gather, carrying in our hearts the joys and losses of our days. We bring them here and share them, knowing they are held gently in care, in support, and in love. We light a candle of memory and gratitude for the life of Deb Knutson, who passed away on September 2nd. Deb was a member here for many years before moving to Marshfield. We remember her passion, her kindness, and her generosity. We send our love to her family and friends and all who are missing her gentle and loving presence. Carolyn Clark asks us to light a candle for all those with post-stroke central pain, saying, in most cases, the thalamus is involved, and as a result, we suffer often unbearable, unremitting pain, and lots of those affected don't get proper treatment. Creating visibility around this issue is Carolyn's mission. We send our love to her and to all who are suffering with chronic, unrelenting pain. We light a candle for Marty Hollis and Pat Ducharme in recognition of the preciousness of life. Marty writes, "It could have been us" came to mind as we heard of the fatal cable car crash in Lisbon on September 3rd. In February, we rode that cable car with our 2 adult kids, daughter-in-law, and young grandson. The sad news was a reminder to savor each day as it could be our last. We light a candle of anguish after a week that saw yet another senseless shooting at a school, this time in Colorado, and the politically motivated murder of a public figure in Utah, one of so many, either attempted or successful, in our nation in recent years. Let us affirm together the infinite value of human life, all the way from those we regard as innocents, even to those we regard as adversaries. Let us remember that in any nation that even aspires to democracy, murder and the threat of it can only harm that aspiration. And let us yearn together for a time when both our schools and our politics will no longer have bullets in them. We light a candle of celebration for our sibling congregation, the First Parish Church in Beverly, Massachusetts, as they install this weekend the Reverend Elizabeth Asenza as their 27th settled minister. Blessings and congratulations to both minister and congregation on their ongoing shared ministry together. We light a candle of sorrow and profound grief for the passing of Telly Pinkerton, grandson of Tad and Hannah Pinkerton. Telly succumbed after 47 days to the injuries he suffered from the gas explosion that engulfed him on July 27th. Telly was wonderful, curious, intelligent, and sensitive to others. A student headed to Colorado School of Mines for his senior year in physics this fall. We send our love and strength to his parents, Brian and Liza, and to Tad and Hannah, and to all of their family. And we light one more candle for all that lives in our hearts, the joys, the losses, the sorrow and celebration, and for the love that remains through it all. I invite you now to turn with me both inward and outward as we join together in prayer and contemplation with these words from Gretchen Haley. For this one moment, know only that you are loved, that you are safe and whole and loved. Know that you belong here, here among us, here upon this earth, in your body. However tired or broken your heart may be, whatever fear, disappointment, anger you carry, in this moment, know you are not alone. Feel the presence of others surrounding you, breathing beside you and with you, discovering together the way our voices rise and fall together in harmony, in hope. Claim here a resilient freedom, the choice, for love, for light, to live with joy and gratitude and praise as a form of resistance.
Now I invite us all to rise in body and or in spirit so we can sing our closing hymn together, number 1028 in the Teal hymnal, 1028, The Fire of Commitment. From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion each to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living brings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
May you be invited to the party. May you be asked to dance. May you be amazed to learn that your own precious heart already knows and leaps to the song. And in this moment, whirling in the expansive affirmation of all creation, an embodiment of the divine's boundless love, may you turn and face the door, arms outstretched to sing in wide welcome the ever-changing song of togetherness to those who have yet to discover that they too belong here. Blessed be, go in peace, and please be seated for the postlude.